Hello, world. This is Two Grumpy Old Men. I'm Tim Bagwell, and my partner in this enterprise is.
Rich
Why don't you?
Carling,
Yeah, there
how
we go, Rich.
how we
Rich,
all
what's it?
doing
What
out there?
are you talking about? What's going on?
I got some questions to ask you today, Tim, and I've got a whole
I
list of
deny
them here.
everything.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Yo Innocento.
Mind you, it was somebody who looked like me, but it wasn't me. All right, here's one. Now, this kind of deals locally here in Chicago, but it impacts nationally. Okay, uh, we all know who Senator Durbin is.
Yes.
Okay, and he revealed recently that Trump's deployment of the National Guard in Illinois cost the taxpayers nearly $20 million. You remember we had the elite forces from Texas.
Yes.
Okay, so the question is what does this say about the balance between federal authority and state budgets? Because I'm sure that it's costing Charlotte and eventually New Orleans and Los Angeles, of course, millions of dollars. So what does this say about the balance between federal authority and state budgets?
Well, the Republicans, the administration likes to have other people put their bills. I think that this is the bills. They want to implement their radical agenda, and they do so by using the money from the blue states, to suppress blue states. In this case, usually it's just give it to a red state, but now they're using it to suppress blue states with having us pay for the national. Well, having you all, we're not a red state down here in St. Louis, but we are a red state in St. Louis,
Yeah, I was just
and
going to say, yeah,
yeah, they're robbing from you essentially, and they're
yeah.
crooks. Yeah, we might as well say it. They are crooks.
Well, yeah, that's without a doubt, that.
Is that
But even a place like Louisiana, which is where New Orleans is located, and they're a red state, but it's a blue city, and so it's going to cost them millions of dollars, to have these National Guard, to even have ICE just show up, and it's not just the taxpayers. I think it's also the cost of business. There was a bunch of restaurants up here in Chicago that just simply closed because ICE wouldn't go away. And these were popular restaurants in the area, and that employed numerous people. And I think one thing people forget is that you know go out and interview for a job. Go someplace to where they make an offer to you, or they say, yeah, we can let you work for us, and here's how much we're going to pay you. And oh, by the way, you got to sign this document that says you're a citizen. Every business does it because that's the law. So for them to sit there and say that these people don't have the authority to work here, who's doing the checking?
right?
That these people don't have
Right.
the authority to work here,
Right,
and
right,
that you know.
and again, yeah, and if the businesses are supposed to be doing that, well, a lot of them aren't, and we really don't want them to, but they're getting away with things. Business can make its money, you know, but we get to use the immigrant. We get to use the immigrants as a scapegoat, and
Yeah,
it's old stuff. This is really old playbook stuff. These guys are using, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Find your scapegoats, and build your case there. With bad behavior.
yeah. And
And
even if it's not correct.
yeah, yeah. Well, their other one on the campaign trail. It's the transgender people.
LGBTQ people,
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
Yes.
There's a transgender person behind you in line. They want your place in line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, oh my God. All right, let's go to another question here. And that now, well, I got two interesting questions. One here is about the suburbs. It's not just Chicago. I'm sure it's in other areas too. But they apparently are falling short on affordable housing requirements. Now, I just recently read an article about how we want to open up, or actually, it's also on 60 Minutes just recently, how out in Wyoming they want to open up, the national lands, national federal lands, to housing. And the first thought, of course, that came to my head was, okay, you're out in Wyoming. Wyoming is not necessarily a rich place for jobs, and everything. So, what kind of affordable housing is going to be helpful out there? Okay, but at the same time, you've got so many places here in the suburbs of Chicago. I'm sure the suburbs of St. Louis, and other big cities, where they're falling short of available housing. So why is that? Why is this such a persistent issue? Why can't we have? Why is there no affordable housing in these places?
Right, right. And it's a problem. But the Wyoming question is affordable housing for who? Is it, is it that they look like smaller homes perhaps, but are they still for the wealthy? Are they homes for the out on the range where the deer and the buffalo roam? Childhood fantasies.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That's
out in Wyoming, yeah, out in Wyoming, that's all that's going to be is going to be housing, for the ultra rich,
yeah.
and that, you know,
Well,
but for
it's an unusual state, and again, yeah, they probably have a problem just simply getting the crews together to build the affordable housing. I would think
yeah,
one of their problems. But in the suburbs, I think it's a and in the we have a problem here inside the city of St. Louis. Although there's a lot of affordable old housing here, like what I live in, but the suburbs are a challenge, and I think that it's these. I think there's a lot of manipulation in the real estate marketplace. Really, is what we're talking about. Right? I don't know how to describe that. Economists describe it better. I think they do, and that's that. The housing uh, the housing markets have always been a volatile part of. You kind of have starter homes and exit homes.
uh-huh.
The house that probably you live in and that I live in at one point was a starter family home. Couple move
Probably
in, they have a kid or two, then they have to move out. You
right,
know.
right.
Then you
Well,
have
the
the
idea
exit.
is to build equity. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The idea is to my ex-wife and I had started out in a townhouse, and that and it was about the same, actually about the same size as this, just a different layout. And that and the whole idea we had was that we would have the place for about 5, 6, 7 years, build some equity up, sell it, and move to a bigger place because we had plans for creating a family and everything like that. Mind you, that didn't happen, but the point is that a lot of families start that kind of thing. Um, when I was on the village board, and even when I was on the county board, and this was in DeKalb County and Lake County, and one of the things that I noticed that happens here is the old NIMBY effect. Not in my backyard, and the number of people that would fight against building affordable housing in a community was just, they're all for building affordable housing. Just don't build it in my backyard,
right, right.
you know, and everything. So you end up building affordable housing that's miles and miles and miles away from the jobs.
Right.
You got housing that's being built, let's say out in Harbor, Illinois. Nice town. Don't get me wrong. I really like Harbor, Illinois. I have friends that live out in that area. But Harvard is like 50, 60 miles away from jobs. So people end up spending an hour, an hour and a half, almost 2 hours just to drive to a job. So where's the affordability in all that?
Right, exactly. I had a thought in my head here about the about that transition. So now we call this our exit home. Oh, well, I was going to say was the economy. It's the economy, stupid. And you talk about the jobs. Well, they're good paying jobs. All right, and the affordability of getting that first starter home, which and sometimes I have to watch myself because this is my dissertation topic. But you know, when your student loan payment is equal to a mortgage payment, or at least an old mortgage payment of 10 or 15 years ago, there's no house in that future.
That's right.
There's no hope in that future.
That's right.
And even rental properties are a problem
Yeah.
when so that's both the credit rating and the loan payments if they're making them are prohibitive to owning a home. You know,
Yeah.
as well as
Yeah.
the car payment, as well as the large insurance payments on a lot of vehicles. I
Oh
don't know
my
how they
God.
do it in Florida. I don't know how the Florida works
Yeah.
exactly.
They. You remember that column, blog post that I wrote about the meat of a house is $435,000. Okay, and that in how Peter, Illinois, which is about maybe 100 miles or so south, or more, and that and the average price of a house is $88,000. All right. Well, you got some kid that gets a job, with some company that's got multiple locations around the world, around the nation. We'll say it that way. All right. And he goes up in the ranks at that location down in Decatur. He has bought a house for, he's got a family and all this, and he's only had the house say 5 or 6 years, barely built any equity in it, and that unless he's been making double payments on his mortgage, and now they're telling him, hey, we want you to move up to Schaumburg. Good luck, you know, and you add the student loan to that. I had a friend of mine who just bought himself a brand new car. It was a Toyota Camry, nice car, but he spent $43,000 on a darn thing. You're like, whoa, yeah,
That's half of
yeah,
your house. That's half the price of a house in Decatur.
exactly. So how are these kids going to be able to afford to do anything? We're shooting ourselves in the foot, in the marketplace.
30,000. It's an SUV. Am I right?
Pardon?
It's 43,000. It's an SUV. I'm assuming.
No, you got a Toyota Camry.
Oi,
Yeah, that's a sedan.
wow.
That's like
That,
that's like having a Honda Accord, or a Hyundai Sonata,
love my little Corolla. The low end competitor to the Camry. Their own competitor to the
yeah,
to the
I mean, I
Camry.
I have I have a Honda Civic. Okay, it's now what, an 11-year-old car, but it's only got like 92,000 miles on it. I'm not about to get rid of that car anytime soon.
We got 102.
you
We got
know
102, and we didn't put the 102 on it. We got the car used.
exactly.
Yeah, but that economy restrictions on, and it was like planned to keep people in line. This keeps people in line. It keeps people hoping. That, at some point, hope gets lost. You no longer have you're never going to see that house.
Yeah,
Although something needs to be said about better housing in the form of rental properties. But that also, because everything favors the wealthy charging more,
yes.
and yeah, um, it's just surprising.
Well, isn't it the thing that upsets kids, or upsets a lot of people? I mean, it used to upset me. We used, always had that joke about how we got ourselves a 3% pay increase, and we thought that was a lot, and then the insurance went up 3%.
Yeah,
So it was like, what was the point? And everything.
exactly.
And the kids,
Well,
the kids see that today.
I think that people get confused about what they want, and they're the consumption, the larger home that we were always wanting, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
A
yeah.
couple that are kind of in the family orbit here that uh, own a huge home, but it's just them, and they're older than us,
Yeah.
and they don't have people come in to do the cleaning. They clean it themselves,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
it's a job unto itself. You
Well,
know?
yeah. I look at
Yeah,
a
I mean,
5,000 square foot house, and the first thing I think of is, who the hell's going to clean all that?
yeah, yeah. And how many
I don't want
stairs?
to.
And I've seen so many homes too, where and this is design issues with homes, I think, where there's not a master bedroom on the main floor. Okay, well, if you're going to be staying in that home into your later years, you know, you should have planned to have a master bedroom on.
You better have an elevator in that house.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Just in case,
So
nobody knows it out there, folks. The older you get, the harder it is to go up those stairs. And that there's a joke with us, because me, I'm going to be 70 years old in 2 days. Okay. And one of the things that I've learned in those years now is that it's easy for me to get down on my knees. It's a hell of a lot harder to get back up. you know. Yeah.
And for
Oh
the, I
my
was
God.
there's a YouTube for that, where they give instructions. They're younger than us, but they give instructions on how to do the proper roll and turn in order to get yourself back up. Yeah.
All
You had
right.
another question? What was another question you had going on here?
Yeah, let's go. So here's another question then. Hang on a second. I'm looking through my list of questions here. I just want to say, oh, okay.
Well,
Hey, here we go. Here we go. We got Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, we all know MTG. At, and she announced recently that she's going to resign from Congress
yeah,
as of January 5th,
yes.
2026. So, what's the significance of all of this? Why is that? Why is this so significant?
I think you told me the answer already, so I'm going to let it loose anyway. And that's the qualifying period for that's the optimal date for qualifying for her pension, for a certain
Yes.
amount of pension, I
Well,
guess.
that's one of the things. One of the things I also learned, though, too, in the meantime, well, just so everybody understands, okay, um, um, for anybody who runs for Congress, you have to be in Congress at least 5 years to be 100% vetted or vested. Excuse me, vested is the word. Okay,
No one gets vetted
100%
anymore.
vested in
No one gets
in.
vetted anymore.
Okay, so you have to be there 5 years in order to be 100% vested in your pension, that you would get. Okay, and that happens really in even in like the company I worked for. It was, in order to be vested in the stocks that I got because we were an employee-owned company,
Uh-huh.
and I do that on purpose, and that. So that basically means that she gets to have this pension for life, but she doesn't get to collect the pension until she's 62 years old. Well, she's 51. The other thing is too is that the pension really for her, because she's only have been in Congress for such a short period of time, isn't worth a hill of beans. It's $15,000 a year.
All right.
I think quite honestly we've got bigger fish to fry out there than worrying about her collecting a pension. But she also gets medical too. But the medical works the same way as it did with all the companies we've ever worked for, in the sense that the government covers 75% of the premium. She has to pay the rest in order to stay on it. Now it's a nice program and all this, but but still not worth a big argument over. The other thing too that I just recently learned was that apparently she went from having $700,000 in wealth, in net wealth, when she first came into Congress, to today being worth over $25 million. The vast majority of her wealth, by the way, are in two areas. One, the family-owned construction business. She owns 50% of it. It's worth somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 million. And then the other part of it was that she apparently invested wisely while she was in Congress.
As
And
many
of
of them do.
course,
As many of them do,
yeah,
it seems.
well, and of course, there are people out there who argue that quite honestly, when you are in public office like that, you really shouldn't be able to invest like that because of the fact that much of the information that
Exactly.
she probably used could be considered insider trading information.
Yeah.
Okay, because she's in Congress, she gets access to information the rest of us don't get access to. And so, and it's been said that it should be illegal for them to do that and everything. So, well, I mean, it's one of the reasons why Trump can sit there and go, well, I'm not doing it. It's my family that's doing it.
Yeah.
But yet they're profiting off of information
Wink,
he
wink.
knows.
Wink, wink. Wink,
Yeah,
wink.
one of those kind of deals. All right, so
Yes.
enough said about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No.
You know, and she's gotten more attention than she deserves. All right, here, this one here. Okay, the Supreme Court temporarily reinstated Texas's Republican state districting map. How
Yes.
does this affect national politics?
The Republicans found yet another way to screw themselves. Greed isn't really the case. Greed eventually, is self-consuming. It becomes a self-consuming thing. The thirst for power, the thirst for money, I won't say wealth. Wealth sounds like something that's good. We all have some wealth in some capacity. Greed, money, and greed and power breed this kind of and this knee-jerk response. Abbott's knee-jerk response to the request from Trump to have the additional districts, which I think Indiana got the legislature got it right. And like, we're not going to mess with this. You know,
Well, Illinois,
it could go
Illinois hasn't
sideways.
done it either.
Yeah, this
Illinois is back. Those guys are looking at this and going, "There's no way." We ain't got, and keep in mind, Illinois, of course, is the king of gerrymandering,
right, right.
and they're looking at it and going, "No, that ain't happening."
Yeah, yeah. And Maryland only has one Republican district that they to deal with, and it's like the geography is, usually there's a geographic problem. Texas has a unique geography, and and Texas and California had the most flexibility, and now Texas has dropped off the map, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah,
They've
and in the
dropped off.
meantime, California moves. The only thing that's happening with California, they're moving forward, but the Republicans are trying to sue over something that the difference between Texas and California really was that Texas just went ahead and did it and didn't bother to ask anybody, and California went to the
Ask the people.
voters.
Ask the
Yeah,
people.
they asked the people, and the people said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead, change it."
Tell me what yes.
Yeah, you know.
Probably was a case of if it had been any other state but Texas, they would have let it pass. But it was
Yep.
Texas,
Yeah,
you know.
and that I mean,
They,
even what is it? Nebraska even backed out of it, and they could have diluted
there's a petition.
Omaha.
The Republicans keep on trying to stop our petition here in Missouri to keep it from happening. And basically trying to take Kansas City away from us. But again, it could all go sideways. They don't know how
Yeah,
the votes go.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
these Republican stick congressmen, I got to say, out in the stick congressmen, I get in trouble. They're a bunch of hicks. Okay. And once everybody realizes that, and the town halls were kind of bringing that out, they were out there saying stupid stuff and sensitive stuff, and they need to be gone. We produce them here. We produced Ed Martin. Oh my God, and our Senator Schmidt and Hawley. Oh God, we have two terrible senators, and
That's right. You
and
guys got Josh Hawley, don't you?
although and I almost did a like on it on Facebook. Apparently, him and Blumenthal. What was the bill? There was a joint bill that was good. What was it? I can't remember now. They put out something that was actually good. I can't remember what it was though.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, you guys got Josh Hawley, and we've got Darren Bailey. you know.
God. Well,
Yeah.
now has he crashed and burned yet, or was there something
No,
happened?
no, his family, he had deaths in his family. They had a private, they were flying a private plane up in, I can't remember if it was Montana or Wyoming, and it crashed, and his son and his grandson and his daughter-in-law, um, all perished.
Right,
There
right.
was one son, grandson in there who didn't take the flight, and so and all that. And our heart goes out to him. Our heart goes out to him, and that it's not something anybody would ever wish on anyone, and all
Uh-huh.
that. But all that aside, Darren Bailey has not crashed and burned yet. He wants to run for governor again, but so do a bunch of other Republicans who are realizing that okay, Darren Bailey's not the answer to anything.
He's
Apparently
from
he's a good
my
farmer.
yeah,
you
he's
know,
from my part of the country, so it's
yeah,
uh,
that's right. You grew up in that area,
yeah,
where he's
yeah,
from,
yeah.
and that.
All I say is most of the good Democrats moved away, but hardcore Democrats who stayed behind that I commend in my hometown. But it's been a tough one. But I think that again, people, I always cite the case of my half uncle. That was the oldest uncle I had in my dad's side, and back in the '60s. One election, he voted for George McGovern. Oh my God, we were upset. You know, Next election, and what did I say? No, excuse me, I had that wrong. George Wallace. He voted for
Oh,
George Wallace.
oh, wow.
We were all we were in outrage. Guess who he voted for in the next election?
Richard Nixon,
George McGovern.
George McGovern.
Yeah.
Wow, wow.
So,
Well, he goes to extremes, don't he?
well, and you know what? That's some of what we're looking at. Especially when the economy's tanked. that people go, well, that didn't work out very well. I'm going to go the other way this time. These are the choices I got, or I could stay home and not make the same mistake I made before, and bada bing, bada bang, we're in. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. He was very instructive. My father was too. He hardcore Democrat. Then he voted for Reagan. And 6 months later, with Patco and everything, my dad was so pissed off
Yeah.
and never voted for another Republican again.
Oh God. Oh, lesson learned, huh?
It was the top of my dad's. It was the top of my dad's earning power, and so it was all kind of related to that. And then, yeah, but he really, he couldn't stomach what Reagan was.
Yeah. One of the things, you and I have talked about this before when it comes down to gerrymandering and everything is exactly that. It's, oh, hey, there we go.
Charlie chimes in.
Yes, that. But what we learned from with gerrymandering is how it just doesn't always work out. That it ends up
Yes.
being it's the message, folks. What are these people saying, and are they talking? Are they even referencing your best interest whatsoever?
Right.
In all of this, and a lot of folks discover sometimes a little late, but they discover it, and I always have hope, in the American voter that they'll do the right thing, and
But
it
in
appears
that
that that's what they're doing now.
here, you had some question about something just clicked in my mind and saw recently, and that's with her with MT back to MTG, but not so much just by reference. Her retirement. There's talk of more retirements out of the Republican side, and
Good.
I'm wondering because open seats are not filled seats, and the proportions of what I'm getting at is when can Mike Johnson lose his job? Right.
Exactly.
How many retirements do we need in order for Mike Johnson to lose his job so that there's more Democratic votes?
Well, here's the question for you. Bringing this up, is it going to be a special election for MTG seat, or is it going to be an appointment? Because I
I
thought
thought you,
that I
what
thought
was
there had
that?
to be at least 2 years left on her term, or a majority left on her term, and she'll have less than a year, right? Right, because she's retired. No, she'll have a year, because if she retires on January 5th of 2026, she has till January of 2027 before her term is up. So I'm hearing special election, but I'm kind of wondering about that.
And is it? I'm kind of googling that. Ah, it says here, and AI is always right,
Yeah.
that there will be a special election for her office.
And do they say when that date would be? Does it say when the date would be?
The election will likely take place in March and must be
Okay.
scheduled 30 days after it is ordered. Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
it says when
the governor,
election.
the governor has to order the election. All
Yeah,
right, that makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Okay. All right. One
So
last question. One
yes,
last question. Okay. All right. The Obamacare subsidies expired last week.
yes. My niece is screaming.
What? Yeah, so is Marjorie Taylor Greene. So, what does this mean for ordinary Americans? Out there, people who have to buy their insurance on the open market.
It's bad. It's nothing
Yeah,
but bad. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, they're talking what,
It's
increases of 50% or more,
yeah,
easily.
yeah.
That I remember when Gail and I were on the open market, with Obamacare, and when we first started out, our premiums were like $400 or $500,
Yeah.
for the both of us each month. That in and of itself was expensive. But
And
then,
probably a large deductible too, right? I mean, it
oh
was
yeah, oh yeah, large deductibles, large out of pockets, and then not 2 years later. Now, mind you, at this time I was a contract project manager, okay, and so 2 years later, the premiums darn near doubled. But fortunately for me, I was able to find a job through a recruiting company that offered benefits.
right.
And so I was able to keep my insurance, our medical insurance, down to like $500 a month. Still had, large deductibles and large out of pockets,
Yeah.
but at least the premium was down real low. Now these poor folks, if they started out at $1,200 a month, you can imagine what it's going to be.
Well, yeah, and back to the housing.
Yeah.
Back to the car.
And a car payment, and
Or no
education.
car
Oh
payment
my
because
God.
there's no car. Um, and it can't go on forever like this Republican Party. You will have just, you know, uh, I hope we get to see President AOC. That's why I was.
Oh my God. Somebody, and that because quite honestly, you look at this and you have to think to yourself, my God, the oligarchs, out there are, who own many of these companies and everything, they're all sitting there going, yeah, sure, we'll be happy to give you a pay raise, but guess what? We're going to jack up your insurance rates. We're going to make it so it's real expensive for you to buy a car. We're going to make it expensive for you to buy that turkey. By the way, the only reason the price of turkeys is going up is because of the fact that they got this bird flu thing going on yet,
Right,
and
right.
but if we had the scientists, in the National Institute of Health or any of these other organizations from the government that used to study and try to figure out an answer to this stuff, okay, if they were there to be able to do that, we maybe wouldn't have this problem. But oh my God, can't have that because the oligarchs don't want to pay for it. And that it gets down to they want us to pay for it.
One closing question: is Trump going blonde? Did he go blonde on us? What's his
I think it's more.
eyebrows, his hair?
I think that's more gray. It's kind of like you
I
and me,
don't know. I
you
don't
know.
know. I don't know.
Uh,
It's all one color. Okay, it's all one color. He's got his little mullet in
he's,
the back.
yeah, yeah. He's still got his
Yeah,
tan
yeah,
line though. He's still got his
yeah,
tan line though there,
yeah.
and all that.
I wonder if he's. I just wonder if he's getting touch-ups in there and where he's gone sort of a blondish white or whatever. There's something
Yeah,
going on there. I'm
yeah.
just saying.
He's accepting. Well, he is old, at that, and getting more decrepit, by the day, and stuff like that.
No,
Did you happen to notice a picture on Facebook that I posted from my 70th birthday party along with my retirement? And that and two of my friends in there have shockingly white hair, and that now and I think it's wonderful. I mean, we're aging, we're all aging well, it seems, and all that. But I I was the oldest of that group, and I still have most of my original color in my hair. It's kind of like a
yeah,
salt and
yeah,
pepper
yeah,
type
yeah.
of thing going on there. But it was a wonderful party, with old friends, and two of them I had not seen in 40 years since we had left college. But it was as if we had seen each other the day before. And that we just went right into the conversations and stuff, and we were sharing information and just really enjoying each other's company. And that Gail had done a wonderful job, of preparing the meal that we had, and I have to put a shout out to for Bueno Italian beef. Now you can get it. It can take like we got it. I think we either got it from Sam's Club or Costco. I can't remember which. And and they've got outlets all over the place here in the Chicagoland area, and it was just fantastic Italian beef. And stuff, and so and then we cooked up the some bell peppers and onions that I had from the garden, so those were fresh, and so that was nice, and so we really enjoyed a fine meal and a good company, and everything. With that, we've been on for over 30 minutes now, and folks, yeah, we'll have another one of these probably next week sometime. But in the meantime, I think both of us want to wish you a safe
Happy
and
holiday.
happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. So,
Take care, everyone.
and with that, we bid you farewell.
Bye bye.